every Pony Muse Script here, and today I'm going to be doing a director's commentary to TCG Episode 8, The Truth. Now, before I get started with this commentary, if you do happen to hear my fan, although I'm not sure if my logic will pick it up, it's quite warm at the moment, being summer, so I've got my fan on, I'm trying to keep cool. But anyways, so episode 8, this episode was a big one, and I'm not talking about just in length, but like a lot of stuff happens in this episode, even more stuff than episode 7. This episode was just really awesome to work on, in my opinion. There's just so much stuff going on. We got two new artists, Evika and Wolf Harmony, and they both did an amazing job with their scenes. They both did more than one, which was kind of cool. And for episode 9, auditions are still open, so if you want to try out as an artist, that'd be nice, because I need all the help I can get for the last episode. So if you haven't done that already and you really want to, then go right ahead. I need artists. But without further ado, we're going to start the commentary for episode 8 in 3, 2, 1, and play. This episode will contain scary scenes, blood, and violence. And the only reason why I have this disclaimer is because of the two wolves. Wolfia and Wolf Harmony. And the previously is different this time because it's a bit more serious. And so the OST that I have playing in the background is called A Lonely Soul. And it was the OST that played in episode 4 when Misty was telling Rainbow Hurika's origins, I guess. And also, it's a good thing that we use a longer version, because there's a lot of stuff to explain. Oh my gosh, the art in the previous episode was really well done by the other artists. So, yeah, there's that. And I really enjoyed all of the reactions to episode 7. They were really fun to watch. I think there's only been a couple for episode 8 though, which is a shame, but that's fine. No, I just like watching reactions. And then of course, no usual intro this time. I did exactly what I did for THS episode 9 and just cut straight to the point, because we're delving into more serious territory. It is called The Truth. Now, this first scene was originally going to be done by Wolf Harmony. She sent me sketches for it, and the sketches were used in the first sneak peek, but then she had to drop it, I guess, and so that left me to fill it in, which wasn't really much of a problem. I mean, I just didn't do as many scenes as she did. I didn't do as many pictures. And also, I want to mention that this episode is the first episode to be fully edited in Coral. Although it's not entirely made in Coral, it's not like the whole 50 minutes is made in Coral. I split it up into different video sections, and then I put them into Movie Maker and then combined them all together so it would render out faster. Because usually when I have the episodes, yeah. And also, making his debut is my good friend Sour Patch King. He is voicing Kanem Guard 2. Arcania Shade was the original voice actor for this character, but then he had to drop out after some complications. I'm trying to get him to record his lines. But in my opinion, Sour does a really good job in replacing the voice as well, so he's the closest one. And then that's Deftwise voicing that soldier that's just a silhouette for now, because I can't be bothered drawing all those Kanems.
I should check on him.
And then we go into the next scene, and this is Wolf Harmony's art. Now, there was a little bit of issue in the size comparison, because in real life the Kingdom Guards are only half the size of King Sephiroth, but Wolf Harmony drew them as being the same size as the Yako. There's always been some inconsistency with the guard size in comparison to the king, but it doesn't matter. It still did a... And that is a gummy plushie, I found out. Instead of actual gummy. I couldn't quite tell, but it doesn't matter. But I really love how Wolf Harmony draws the expressions on these Kanims. He just made King Sephiroth look so ferocious, and it's actually quite terrifying. I mean, I remember an old drawing she did of King Sephiroth last year, but now that she's actually drawn him like this, I just absolutely love it. And yeah, this is when the second Kingdom Guard takes a stand. And this is when, you know, things start to get really dark. But then, you know me, I tend to like to write dark stuff. Mostly feels, but usually not this degree of dark, but let's just say that I got too, inspired by various things. Oh yeah, another thing I want to point out is I really love Brian Random's voice acting in this scene. It's just amazing. Props to you, Brian. Especially that line. That line was just amazing. Alright, then we go off to the next section, and this is Wolfia the Wolf Girl's art. She did a lot of art for this episode. She did about 3 scenes, and this is one of them. Well, she wanted to do the emotional scenes, I guess. And then there's Tank. I just love the way that Wolfia draws her emotions on the characters. They're just absolutely amazing. She drew some fan art for episode 7 a while back, and my jaw dropped. I felt those emotions as well when I looked at the picture. It was absolutely amazing. And then we have our second new artist, Ivica, and you will know her as being the creator of The Last Adventure, which is another audio drama which I participated in, but also helped out with original songs, and that completed, it started in 2020 and completed in 2020. There was only about 3 episodes, but if you like Fluttercord and stuff like that, if you haven't checked out that audio drama, please do. It's a really good audio drama, and it's actually quite popular, kind of. It's got about, the last episode was about 72,000 views. That's quite a lot. Anyway, I already mentioned this part in the references, but yeah, King Sephiroth erases their memories, so Misty won't have a chance of being saved. I know, it's very strange. And, the reason, Liako remembers Misty is because she was there when she ran away, but, I just forgot to draw her in the last episode, so I guess it wasn't really that obvious. But, I really love the panning effects that I'm doing this time. Although I know that there are a couple of artists that do a different aspect ratio than the one you see here, and then when that does happen, I do have to kind of fit it in, maybe cut out a few bushes and stuff. Sorry, Vika. But even if there are tiny little details, sometimes I might do some slight other pans to see the picture. But let's just say that I got really inspired by the last episode of Daughter of Discord to do this new panning stuff in Coral. And look at those pancakes. They're just duplicates of pancakes.
You all are missing something very vital to this mission.
Ooh, we're coming up to a really cool scene that I had a lot of fun with editing. Not just audio-wise, but also visual editing as well. And as you can hear, this is the same track that plays when Misty just breaks down in front of Rainbow in episode 7 after she comes back to her senses. And it's actually like a different version of that one track from episode 3 done on the guitar. And then, let's see, there's Liako glowing. This was one of the sneak peek pictures in the trailer, and someone was like, hey, is Liako giving up her soul components? But no, she's not a goddess. This was the scene I was talking about, that I really had a lot of fun editing together. Isn't it awesome, guys? Isn't it a really cool scene?
Why do I feel deja vu about this?
And why does she feel deja vu about this? Because she, got rid of a spell done on the main 5 in the previous audio drama, of course. I have a lot of reoccurring themes I like to do. Like, one, venturing out of Equestria to fight the villain, and then the main 5 getting corrupted in the brain.
Didn't have her memories erased too, did she?
Sadly, no.
Sadly?
And so I would say that Liako is a bit more like maybe 6 feet. I did plan for her to be 8 feet, but then it just never kind of came to that. So, there's that. So I guess, I mean, Liako is really consistent in height, to be honest. Okay, then we have the second scene that Wolfia did. She just wanted to do all of the emotional stuff, which is very understandable because Wolfia draws expressions just very well, and I've already mentioned that, but I can't say it enough times. I think originally this scene was going to be one of the sneak peeks, but it just didn't really end up happening because I didn't get the art in time. But this scene I just like rehearsed a lot of times in my spare time because I really liked rehearsing it for some reason. Sometimes I do that. I don't know why. I just have specific scenes that I like to rehearse over and over again. And this is like stern. It's not really like stern Fluttershy, but it's more like comforting Fluttershy, but also being like, well, bite the bullet. Just tell me what happened, and then you'll feel better. And see, that's the thing. Only Rainbow calls Misty Mist. So then, when that happens, yeah. And then, of course, the Yost playing in the background is the backing track to Is This What I Wanted reprise, which was another song that I really loved working on. And someone was like in the comments, doesn't Rainbow count her blessings? Why is she crying about Misty when in the previous audio drama she was crying about Tank? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you know, people can feel sad about different things. They can feel sad about different people. And in this case, you know, Rainbow's element of loyalty is being tested because she knows that she is able to make Misty feel better, but at the same time, Misty doesn't want her to. And of course I claimed this scene for myself because, you know, I love to draw crying scenes for some reason. And also I love to voice crying scenes. They're a lot of fun to do, especially with Rainbow. It's good practice. It is very good practice. The only character I'm not good at doing crying scenes with is my own voice. And I tried to do that in my Halloween special last year, and that was a bit strange. Anyways, so then, yeah. And then I think the Ost kind of went down a few semitones just to fit it in better. And yeah, this is the point where everyone says to Rainbow, yeah, it's not in your character to be crying all the time. Okay, guys, Blue Streak said fluffy derp king. I know some people may have thought that she swore, but she did not, I swear.
Be going over to that jerk
And then
trying to boost
we have the
us.
return of the normal instrumental to Is This What I Wanted?
We're glad you're back to your confident self.
I don't know about you, but all that sappiness has made me hungry. You haven't eaten much
And yes,
breakfast yet, have
pancakes
ya?
seem to be another theme that I have in this audio drama. There's just so many pancakes involved.
She's definitely back.
It's never waffles or toast or anything, it's pancakes. And that's perfectly fine. Okay, we're off to the next video scene. And this is Shooting Star. And she's done a really cool job with her art, and I decided to experiment a little on the editing for this one. And yeah, not really much to say at the moment, but I did have to mention to some of my artists, oh hey, Misty isn't wearing her vest anymore. Of course yeah, and Shooting Star was one of them, but then it wasn't really that hard to fix. I love that, and I love that transition that I did. That was a really cool transition. And then how Shooting Star draws King Sophitos is very interesting. I love how each of my different artists portray King Sophitos differently in their own styles. Like for Shooting Star, King Sophitos seems more like this slender chap with pointed, protruded horns. Kind of seems more like a demon than like a fluffy, very flat. I said fluffy and fat, and then I said flat. I don't know. So fluffy, fat dude, I guess. So there is that. And then there's this bit. We have flashbacks to the previous audio drama, guys. Isn't that cool? I guess I forgot to mention that in the references, but I don't think I really needed to do that. Okay, so this is the third scene from Wolfia, and she drew a lot of art for this scene. I mean, a lot. I mean, some of the individual pictures I felt were a little too gory, I guess. So I needed to hide them. Well, not really hide them, but just kind of put them in a way where they weren't really central of focus. Because I know I had that warning issued, but I didn't want it to turn into like cupcakes or anything like that. But I also love how she's drawn King Sophitos. He looks very fluffy. And yes, this is when it gets dark. His true motives... He wants Misty to kill Rainbow. Isn't this audio drama sweet? It started off as Rainbow being a goddess and fighting a villain and all happy dandy stuff, and then we have this dark moment where it turns Madoka Magica on you, and it just turns completely brutal. Well, it doesn't really go 180, it already had some dark themes. I love narrator Pony's voice acting so much. His King Sophitos always gives me chills. I actually sent the audio for this particular section to Wolfia so she could get a good idea of what the art would be like. And she still hasn't forgiven me for this particular episode, and I can understand why. And then I'm like, you were the one who wanted to do this scene, but she did an amazing job on this scene, not gonna lie. And that was those were the two pictures I talked about before about being too gory. I didn't want them to be complete focus, so yeah. My series is like PG. I don't want it to go into PG-13.
Once and for all.
I would have cut the scene there, so we like don't know. But then with this bit here, it's even better because we know, oh no, Rainbow's in danger. Oh no, that's not good. at all. Ah! Alright, and then we're off to the next scene, and this scene is drawn by Ivica, and this was the first sneak peek, and the only one to have fully done scenes of artwork. Of course, that sneak peek was edited in Movie Maker when I didn't have any of the panning stuff yet. I didn't do any of the panning yet. And then the Ost playing in the background is The Land That Once Stood. It's kind of like an experimental piece. The melody I had was kind of a scrapped idea from one of the short films I worked on back in 2019. I did compose a melody with that, but then it just kind of got scrapped from the film. So then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to repurpose it, and that's exactly what I did. So I had the piano, and then also to top it, I had some pull-stretched choir sounds to put in the background to make it even more eerie, because that's what this Ost kind of symbolizes. This empty land that hardly has any life left except for the Canums that still live there. And it's just kind of like this barren wasteland. And then, yeah, the truth. So as you saw well, I mean, you guys have already seen this episode, right? You wouldn't be coming to this commentary if you haven't, obviously. Oh yeah, with this picture, Ivica originally drew wings. But then I was like, no, this is taken in a parallel universe before Season 5 ended, so he hasn't gained his wings yet. So, yeah, that was another thing. Have I mentioned that I also love how Ivica's drawn Tank? You will never see him again. I'm kidding.
Whoa.
This is Violetta Climax art. Her art is absolutely amazing. I just love the various details she's done with the backgrounds as well as the characters. Unfortunately, she told me that she won't be working on TCG anymore. But very understandable why that is. That's one of the reasons also why I'm in need of more artists, because I have a couple dropping out for very good reasons, which is perfectly fine and understandable, and I respect their choices. And it was fun having them on the team when in that duration of time.
When you're 2 times the size of one of us worries me.
And then we have Rainbow looking sadly at Misty's brooch she still has.
Yeah, I am.
And now we go into the castle, and then we go into the next scene. So this art is done by Skylight Glow. Her art for this episode is super adorable. Even when she might say, no, it's not that great, I've improved so much. But I still like it. I still really like the style. But I am also looking forward to, I think she's changed her style up again. So I'm looking forward to what she has for the next episode, if she chooses to. Well, yeah. But her art now, what she's done with it is looking really cool so far, so I'm really looking forward to what she does with it. And she kind of got inspired by me to do the thick lines thing, so there's that. Oh, there's also a mystery, like Liako's spear. It never really gets used. I mean, the only times it was kind of there was in episode 2 and episode 4, but then I just kind of I didn't really give her a spear anymore, but that's fine. Maybe she probably picked up her spear later on. And then I really like this little layering animation that I did with the components. And then we have the second scene of Violetta, and we have the return of the goddesses that have not really done anything for about 3 episodes.
Yay, we did it!
Oh, hello.
And they are
You must
beautifully drawn in Violetta's style.
Well, I know my apprentice is fully, but I don't know Luminous very well.
And vice versa.
And it kind of looks like Satura has like dreadlocks, which would make sense. I would imagine Satura as being a hippie.
Nice to meet ya.
And then, of course, this picture Violetta shared on her Twitter, compared with the actual photo she based it off. It's the circle of life. No, it wasn't based on Lion King, but you get what I mean. It was similar to that. And then, this scene is drawn by Dragon Star Productions. And we have the grand return of Hurika. And yes, it's really good that they get to reunite again, because they have been apart for about 1500 years, and they'll be more explained by Blue Streak. As I mentioned in the references video, I pretty much called myself out, because it was originally 10,000 years, but then I changed it to 1500 years. I don't know. It was a very strange choice, but I went with it anyway just cause. I even had a pinned comment about it on episode 2 of The Color Goddess as well. But this audio drama is known for breaking the fourth wall, so I guess it wasn't a strange thing to do that. And I haven't drawn Hurika in a while either, so it was good to draw her again. And the other goddesses as well. And this was also supposed to be Dragon Star Productions' scene. I mean, she had like one big scene, but she could only do about half of it, which led me to draw the rest of it, which is perfectly fine. I didn't really mind filling in, because this scene was quite long. It was like 3 minutes long. When I was recording Rainbow Dash's lines, I needed to be careful that I didn't peek so much, because, you know, that would be a thing that would happen whenever I'm recording for Pinky or Rainbow Dash, is that I would peek a lot, and I'm like, whoops.
I wouldn't mind him being destroyed as much as he wouldn't mind me disappearing.
Then it's settled. We destroy Kings of Pharos before he
Yeah, Liako's gonna change her mind about her father pretty soon.
That is correct. Though he is a very fearsome enemy, it might be difficult to fight him.
I'm sorry for not having that much to say at the moment. But, yeah, you didn't really think that it was that easy to revive the goddesses so soon. We're only on the second last episode. And cue the episode cover image, because, you know, each of the episodes kind of focus on one character. Ah, yes, the first time the mother has been mentioned in the audio drama. I did get a couple of comments, like, from earlier episodes saying, "Where is Liako's mother? Give us Liako's mother," or something along those lines. And then this episode would finally explain her disappearance.
Oh no.
And then we have the last scene done by Ivica.
Hold them off.
I still love how she's drawn Liako and all the different folds on her off-shoulder dress. And then, entering King Sephiros. I think she accidentally forgot to draw the triangle, so I had to put it there myself. But I didn't even notice it at first until much later, and I'm like, wait. King Sephiros has an upside-down Dorito on his head. And then this is the long-awaited thing where Liako finally steps up to her father and doesn't lie to make sure she doesn't get hurt. Which is very justified. I just love this moment so much. Because, you know, it had to happen sooner or later. She's going back to face her fears because she's pretty scared of him, but at the same time she really hates his beliefs. And she knows that the kingdoms aren't really supposed to be doing this.
You are a horrible king and a horrible father.
And yes, dun dun dun, you are a horrible king and a horrible father.
You
And Legasp.
She also believed in peace and harmony, like you. Do you want to know where that eventually led her?
Of course, he pulled out his sword at the wrong time, making Liako and the rest of us think that he killed his own wife. I mean, he did manage to kill one of his own guards in cold blood, so I guess no one would be really surprised that he killed his wife, but it's still pretty cold-blooded. But then that's just Kings of Phaedos. He's just gone this far that he would even kill guys that are even on the same side as him. And of course, for this scene, this is just another comparison of how small Liako is compared to the first Kingdom God, who's able to hold her in his hand. But of course, by then, the first Kingdom God, portrayed by Brian Random VA, is, scared that something might happen to him if he disobeys the king's orders.
Why do you still obey his commands?
Because if I disobey,
Exactly.
something terrible will happen to me.
And that was also shown in the trailer, trailer material. Because, Brian, his character is the brains of the brothers. Well, yeah, he kind of thinks first, thinks cautiously, thinking of the consequences, and thus he's not as brave as his brother once was. It was very funny, though, that Sarah was just tweeting, "Oh, even though my character died." And then we come to this moment where Liako finally breaks down, and then she's encountered with the mysterious female voice portrayed by Agent Zero Fluffy. And now her character has appeared in episode 5 and episode 7, and now here again in episode 8. And playing in the background is a piano version of My Real Dad, which the OST is called Father and Daughter, and I'll showcase the final third of OSTs once episode 9 has been released, and then you get to hear this OST properly in its entirety. But in regards to this scene, I absolutely loved Kenzie's voice acting, and also Agent's voice acting in this particular scene. They just did so well. Kenzie almost got too into it. And then we've got this scene. This is the scene where the truth finally comes out. And as I mentioned in the references video, the OST playing in the background is called The Ancient Kingdom, and it is done by an actual string quartet. Let's see. Well, actually, it was a different piece that got assessed for my uni, but I just thought, given the opportunity, I'd use this opportunity to have the same string quartet record this OST, and it worked absolutely beautifully. But the funny thing was, I recorded this back in 2019, but when I got to edit the audio, it just fit so well with Agent Zero Fluffy's narration that I didn't even need to do too much editing to fit it in. And then I also have some lineless art for this section. I don't do lineless art often. The last time I did it was for the 2-year anniversary of Little Dashi. And then we have the 3 Kanem nurses. The third one was originally supposed to be portrayed by Peacock's mother, but then she couldn't do it, so I managed to get Scribbler to voice as one of the nurses, which I thought was really cool, because I really wanted her to voice as one of the nurses originally. Like, say, hey, you should audition for this. But then she didn't end up doing that, but then I'm like, oh, hey, you want to voice this? And she's like, sure. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I got Scribbler to voice. We're really good friends, Scribbler and I, so it was really cool. Anyway, so then we have this egg, proving that the Kanems are monotremes, apparently, because, they're part dragon, part dog. That's what a Kanem is. And then we have this scene, Agent did such an awesome job voicing in this scene. I got chills down my spine. And then we have Good Sephidos. Narrator Pony also did an awesome job portraying Good Sephidos and Evil Sephidos and kind of making a big difference between them, just like how I portray Misty and Tenebrae is different. But what's really interesting is that when King Sephidos is good, he has a birthmark on his forehead, but it's actually a normal angled Dorito. I keep calling it a Dorito, but it's actually a triangle. A normal Dorito. When he's evil and darkened, however, the triangle is upside down. So that's an interesting detail about King Sephidos. And also another detail I want to mention is that how they can tell that the egg is has a girl instead of a boy is that female canims are lighter in color, whilst male canims are darker in color, and so are their eggs. The eggs are lighter in color. If the eggs are lighter in color, then they're girls. If the eggs are darker in color, then they're boys. So I guess that's a little thing to compensate. So this art is done by Heartsy Artsy, and her art is really adorable for this scene, and she also does art for the next scene as well. And so this is when King Sephidos plans on taking over the pony's land. I mean, to be fair, he has waited about, he's waited about 10 years for his daughter to hatch out. But she had laid in a dormant state. And then this is where all the things start to collide, because he was first mentioned in THS Episode 9, and this bit was also mentioned in THS Episode 9, where Celestia performs a sonic rainbow, and then all of it connects. And so, yeah, Celestia found a spell to get rid of, King Sephidos and his armies. And then he takes the goddesses and kidnaps them and tries to get them to, give up their powers and give them to him, so then his land can run. And then it connects with this scene, which was first shown in TCG Episode 2. And this is the exact same art from that Episode 2. Of course, that the person who voiced that god was Arcania Shade, and Sour also filled in for that one as well, because they pretty much sound the same as the second Kingdom God. I also love how Heartsy Artsy drew little Liako. It's just absolutely adorable. It's like a chibi Liako. It's so cute. She looks so sad as well. And then we go back to showcasing the mysterious female voice, which is pretty much a soft brush, a big soft brush on Photoshop. And, yeah, I'm just waiting for the next bit. So then, this is when it comes together. We have two sides to this reveal. This particular reveal that happens. Like, the reveal being that the mysterious female voice is Queen Dira. I would imagine one half of my fans would be like, "Oh, I figured that out 3 episodes ago," and then the other half would be like, "Whoa, are you serious? No way, I didn't see that coming." Although I'm pretty sure I'm referencing Green Eggs and Ham here, but they're like, "Oh, I figured that out 3 episodes ago." Of course, they did not talk in an Australian accent, but oh well. And so I really love the design that I gave for Queen Dira. It's like dear and then Dira. And that is the ancient Canaan word for a beloved or dear or something along those lines. Liako is the native word for little because she was born as a little being. And King Sephiroth, his name means ferocious. And there'll be more details on that when the prequels come out later this year. And then we have the song for this episode, and this is the lullaby that Dira sings. And you first actually hear this particular melody in the OST, The Mysterious Voice, which first appeared in episode 5. And so this is kind of the theme of Dira, is what I'm trying to say. This theme was kind of there, like 3 episodes ago. But I'm like, this melody is so pretty. Better use it in a song. And Agent, who voices Queen Dira, she absolutely loved the song on her first listen when I played her the demo. And then she also played it to her boyfriend Crimson. And I think she played it to her, she played her version of Crimson as well, but he liked it as well. And then we have Candy Crew, Skylight Glow, Sour Patch, my BF Round, and myself as Kanims. So that came as a surprise to a couple of people, but I'm like, might as well draw some Kanims to show the idealistic world for the Kanims, how it's supposed to be. In reality, Queen Dira would be pretty huge in real life, but as a ghost, I guess she can portray her size, so she'd be able to be on Liako's level, which is actually pretty respectable. And then Dira gives up her flower and has it as a necklace to Liako, and there'll be more info on that necklace in the next episode, so it's not just like a pretty thing that she wears. It's I love that ending. So yeah, the necklace, as I said, you'll find out more about the necklace in the next episode. And with that, Dira's work is done. And then we cut off back to the main 6, because we have not seen them in a while. The attention's mostly been on Liako, and they're still trying to figure out where the throne room is. I mean, they're only the size of ants, right? So it's pretty much the equivalent of like Jack walking into the giant's house in Jack and the Beanstalk. It's pretty much equivalent to that. And then the art that we have here is done by Marzipan Studios. And it's very, very adorable art that she has done. Especially that one that she's done for Rainbow Dash. I mean, there weren't too many art pieces for this particular scene, but at least there was enough to showcase who's speaking, so that would work. And yeah, especially with this image that shows Rainbow being cocky, and I don't usually write Rainbow as cocky, because that's kind of like one of her flaws. I mean, I'm not saying that I should be writing Rainbow as flawless, like, you know, the song in episode 7, because I write even more flaws for Rainbow in my productions, and I don't regret anything. And originally it was only Fluttershy that said, "That's horrible!" But then I remembered Spike has a huge crush on Liako in this production, so then I added the Spike line as a last minute thing. So then he's also saying, "That's horrible!" And then the next scene is done by me. And this scene was very interesting to work on, because when I'm doing a scene, It's usually when I can do layer animations like that. And then we have the return of Misty. We haven't seen her in a while.
I'm coming, Nist! Not so fast, Rainbow.
But of course,
Hey! Don't you feel
Misty is not someone to be trusted right now because she was actually supposed to have an upside down triangle, but my derp brain kind of forgot to make that a reality. So instead I drew a normal triangle on her forehead when it was supposed to be an upside down triangle, so that was a mistake on my part. And then of course whenever I have scenes where the reflections of eyes are moving like that, it usually takes a long time to do in Coral. But enough about that, we go on to the next artist, who is Zoe and Guys. And as usual, the art that Zoe does is very cute as well. And then we have that Bendy reference down in the corner, which I mentioned in the references. And then, of course, on top of Zoe's art, I also have the special effects that I put on Misty's triangle thing on her forehead. Yes, to showcase that Twilight has powers. And then you see that faint message that I pointed out as well. Do you want me to save you or not? I had to figure out what that message meant, and it took me a while to actually get that. Because I think I deleted the original email that said what the code meant, and I think I messaged Zoe a couple of times. So that was one of the reasons why the references video was so late. But it doesn't really matter. I also love this particular scene because I got to experiment with all the different effects. And then we also have the different animals. But you know me, sometimes I can't be bothered drawing a proper fight scene, so that's why I had that panning. Because it takes a long time to draw a scene, depending on how many ponies are being used in that scene. And then we have Rainbow getting rid of the spell that King Zephyros put on her, but of course that was actually a bad mistake. And then a clock exists in the castle, apparently.
What is it?
And then we have this scene. This is supposed to be one in the fields.
About what? I haven't killed you, and it's almost midnight.
Almost midnight. The clock already rang. That was an error on my part, but what are you gonna do?
You don't mean Tenebrae? Rainbow, I don't have that much time left. There's only one way to
See,
outsmart Zephyros.
I don't know why, but for this particular episodes, there seems to be a lot of themes of killing and death. But then I do like to write dark sometimes.
What are you
I was
waiting
trying to
for?
find a cool effect to
Do it now.
put on Misty.
Otherwise, Equestria is in danger. I won't do it, Nist. I vowed to myself I would only use these powers to
I
protect
love
you.
this scene.
I cried for you.
I mean,
don't
not
want
as
to
much
do
as the
this.
other scenes in this particular episode, but it's still a pretty cool scene.
All the fun memories I had with you.
And this particular picture that is panned also took me a while to draw because, you know, drawing all the different characters.
Beeping dirt.
I don't know what I'm going to do without you, Nini.
And then, of course, we have this particular Ost playing in the background, which also appeared at the end of episode 7 as well.
Your curse. You just have to stop being stubborn and trust me.
We have this moment, but of course, knowing me, it's not gonna turn out that way. We're almost at the end of the episode, and something bad has definitely got to happen. And so we have this new Ost,
What have you done?
which is called Demon Transformation, and it was the Ost that was used in the official trailer for episode 8. And then with that, as you've kind of seen, Misty is lost in the void now, and also her glasses have broken. So there's a little fun fact for you. Her glasses have broken off. And then, of course, this particular scene was just also very cool because Rainbow finally gets to meet Sephiroth after being told about him and training and all of that stuff for 2.5 years, I guess, in audio drama time. But look how much smaller Tenebrae is compared to King Sephiroth.
When I defeat you and undo all the damage you've done.
I won't be glad when I defeat you and undo all the damage you've done! That line is like the real trailer image before the thing hits. And then that, my dear viewers, is how you end an episode, with the final battle is coming to you in the last episode. I'm saving the big battle with King Sephiroth and Rainbow Dash in the last episode. So, we've got the Singers Bill and Kanyanta, Neville, Round, and Seraph Pilcrow, who did the Kanem chant at the beginning of the episode. And then, let's see. So, I think this is the second episode in TCG which doesn't have the instrumental of the song that played. The first one was episode 5, but that was because episode 5 song had just happened, so that would just be weird. For this one, of course, Dira's Lullaby didn't really fit the atmosphere that would just happen, so we needed something more epic. And that's when this episode this OST happens. This OST that happens during the battle between Misty and the others. And then, zooming out in this credit sequence, you get this little promotional image for episode 9. Well, kind of. I mean, Misty's in there as well. But I drew this a while back, but I thought that would be perfect for episode 9. The Color Goddess finale is called The Choice, and it's coming in fall 2021. And no, it is not my fall. It's not my autumn. It's the autumn in the Northern Hemisphere. And I've already explained why that is, because I've got 4 prequels coming out on the 25th of February, April, June, August, and then also a 5th one that will come out after episode 9's release. So there's that. Let's see. And also recently I got this new plugin for my Logic called East West, in addition to getting myself a new computer to function this software. So in episode 9 you might be hearing some cool epic sounds if I get more experience with it. I mean, I've just got it. I haven't really worked with it that much just yet. So I'm hoping to get some cool new OS for episode 9 in there. So keep your eyes peeled out for that. And also, I already mentioned this at the start of the commentary, but I also mention that now. Just to remind you guys, there's about 5 days left to audition for episode 9 and the prequels if you haven't already. And so far for art auditions, I've got about 4. But if you're interested in trying out for art for my audio drama, please do. I could use all the help I can get, because I'm doing all the art for the prequels. So I don't really want to be doing most of the art for the episode this time. So yes, if you want to audition for art, go right ahead. But yes, everyone hype for the prequels and episode 9 coming out this year. And yeah, episode 9 already. Man, it's been a blast. This TCG actually has been the longest ongoing project that I've directed, because THS only ran for less than a year because I put out all the episodes monthly, because I was a strange director back then. But this time, TCG has put a lot of time and effort, and with episode 9 being the length of a movie, that would make all the more sense. But yeah, anyways, thank you all for watching the commentary, the director's commentary for this episode, and I'm looking forward to what you guys think of the prequels and episode 9 coming out, so yay, be hyped everyone! So, anyway, I should not carry on this commentary any longer. I think I've said what I needed to say, so I'll end the video by saying, bye! This is Musegroup signing out.
The school of friendship is for all of us, a place where we belong.